HR's reputation isn't just bad, it's horrendous. In TV and films, we're never the heroes, are we? We're either hopelessly wet like Malcolm from The Office, mumbling jargon that no one understands, or we're chillingly soulless like Catbert from Dilbert, inventing morale-crushing rules for fun. And aren't you just sick of all those articles about how rubbish we are? The one from Forbes titled 10 Reasons Everyone Hates HR, or the recent one in the Times about how HR gets in the way of actual work. In TV shows, articles in the business press, or even office banter, the message is clear. HR is something to endure, not something that makes work better. We're either the office speed bump, slowing progress with well-meaning but ineffectual bureaucracy, or with a sinister enforcer of rules that nobody asked for. And of course, our reputation is not just a fictional fantasy. Managers themselves often complain about HR and fail to see us as a credible and impactful team to work with. Through my own experience and from countless conversations with leaders and HR teams around the world, I've come across some kind of consistent explanations as to why managers push back against HR. Let's just have a look at the 3 of the top complaints from managers. And just to be clear, I'm not saying that they're all fair or justified. I just think that unless we understand what our brand reputation is, we can't do anything to change it for the better. So let's start with what is probably the most commonly cited frustration. HR is often experienced as the function that prevents rather than enables. So while managers are focused on fast decision-making, agile responses to customer demands and staying ahead of competitors, HR can feel like a slow-moving roadblock. They want to restructure a team to get a better result, and we present them with a 12-week consultation process. They want to promote someone quickly to secure a higher performer, and we remind them of the need to benchmark, evaluate the job grade, and advertise externally first. Now, it's not that our intentions are bad, they rarely are, and sometimes it's a legal requirement. We're there to maintain fairness, consistency, and legal compliance. But from a manager's perspective, we often arrive with layers of policy, process, and paperwork just when what they need is speed, simplicity, and support. As one retail operations director once told me, whenever I'm ready to act, HR gives me 3 reasons not to. And that stings, but it also aligns with the research. A McKinsey report found that 70% of business leaders see internal bureaucracy, not external competition, as their biggest barriers. And guess who gets tagged as the face of that internal bureaucracy? Of course, it's us, right? Secondly, we're often seen as being focused on our own agenda, not theirs. Managers experience HR turning up with initiatives that they didn't ask for, delivered at a time that couldn't be worse. Think of the annual engagement survey landing right in the middle of peak trading season, or the cascade of new values launched at the exact moment that their team is in survival mode. They're not being obstructive when they don't engage, they're just trying to stay afloat. And we sometimes can act like a product team that's launching new features without any user research. We build programs that meet our internal goals, completion rates, rollouts, systems integrations, etc. But we don't always solve the problems that our internal customers are actually facing. I once had a manager say to me, "I don't mind you bringing me something new, just bring me something I need." That line has stayed with me ever since. Thirdly, there's the issue of perception, and it's a persistent one. We're still seen as doing the pink and fluffy stuff. Despite years of trying to reposition HR as strategic and commercial, many managers still think we're primarily responsible for the soft things, organising team building away days, printing out the wellbeing posters during Mental Health Week. And it doesn't matter that we're also the ones handling workforce planning, enabling major transformations and delivering the change that keeps organisations alive. If our most visible contributions seem trivial, that tends to be what sticks. Now, it's a harsh summary, but it reflects the reality that many managers feel, but are sometimes too polite to say out loud. But as hard as this negativity is to read or hear, writing articles on LinkedIn defending ourselves, I don't think is the best way to change it. If we want to improve our brand reputation and earn their trust, we have to start redesigning the way we show up. Hi, and thanks for watching. If you found it useful, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications to get more videos like this.